everybody. I am Zana Clark, your host for The Food is the Best Medicine for Soul, Body, and Mind. And this is my weekly show. I'm here every Friday at 12:15 for 15 minutes where I share quick, simple, nutritious, and delicious recipes that are great for our soul because they make us feel good. They're great for our body because they boost our health, and they're great for our mind because they boost our well-being. And we all want a healthy body, a happy soul, and a calm, well mind. So I'm looking forward today to sharing information on you for foods that boost brain power. Every month we have a theme. The theme for this month is boosting brain power. And so each week I will be sharing 2 to 3 different foods that can be used as medicine to boost our brain. Today we are focusing on macadamia nut clusters, and we have 3 great ingredients that my clients are always asking me about. And so I thought that we would highlight these 3 ingredients first because they are favorites. Chocolate, oh my God, all my clients want to eat chocolate, and they're always asking how much can they eat and what type can they have. So we're going to talk about chocolate. Caffeine, everybody wants their coffee. When we do a detox, nobody wants to give up their coffee. And when I say just reduce it, try to reduce down to just 1 cup a day, then they want to know how big of a cup can they have? Can they have 32-ounce cups? No, I say. So we're going to talk about caffeine. And then the third ingredient we're going to talk about today is nuts, and macadamia nuts in particular. And the recipe we are doing is to create a chocolate cluster with macadamia nuts. And we're going to use these 3 ingredients that I talked about. So benefits of those 3 ingredients, and then I'll show you how to make them. So why chocolate? So chocolate, when you buy dark chocolate and you want to get a high ratio of the cocoa to the other ingredients in there. So I tend to go for at least 75% dark chocolate. Sometimes you can only find 60 or 65. It's okay to use that. Some people go for the even higher content, which is like 85%. I don't think I've seen 90%. But any of those that are in the dark chocolate range count. They are low glycemic, so they do not have a lot of sugar. They will not spike up your blood sugar to too high of a level. It will go up a little bit because there is some sugar in there, but it will be at a reasonable level, and it will be at a sustainable, stable level. So they're low glycemic. They're high in antioxidants. Dark chocolate is one of the foods that is very rich in flavonoids, and these flavonoids and the antioxidants have heart benefits as well as brain benefits. So they've been studied, and it's been shown that it helps to boost your memory. It helps to boost your mood because the flavonoids actually serve serotonin, our happy hormone, so it's going to boost the mood. And it boosts concentration as well. It has a little bit of caffeine in it, and that helps to boost concentration. So you get some benefits. There's also a host of vitamins and minerals, and one of my favorite is magnesium. Magnesium is calming for the nervous system, and it helps to balance out the blood sugar, which also keeps you more calm and stable. You're not going up and down with blood sugar spikes and mood spikes that follow that. So dark chocolate is a great ingredient to use. Caffeine. So we are using espresso powder. This one is an organic espresso powder. I tend to try to find organic chocolate because the cacao making process can be very chemicalized. And so normal chocolate has a lot of toxic chemical ingredients in it. So if you buy organic, you will get fewer. Never eliminate it, but fewer. So this it's an espresso powder. So that means it does have caffeine in it. It's a source of caffeine. It will give our little clusters a little boost. But the caffeine, like the dark chocolate, has been studied and it's shown for heart health, which of course is a big area for me, but also brain health. And yes, it is going to boost your memory. It's going to boost concentration. One of the biggest challenges for my clients, because most of my clients are all over the age of 45, and many of them are going through menopause. And one of their biggest complaints is brain fog, right? Brain fog. They have short-term memory and they cannot concentrate. And since many of my clients are also high-powered women who are trying to make a big positive impact on the world through their job and through what they do with their communities and their life, they need to be able to concentrate and focus. And so a little caffeine will help. I usually say 1 cup of coffee a day, or within our recipe, we're going to add 1 to 2 teaspoons of the espresso powder in the whole recipe. And so you will get a small amount of caffeine in each cluster. So, very good. What's the third ingredient? Nuts. And in today's recipe, we're focusing on macadamia nuts. And macadamia nuts are actually a great nut for many reasons. And one of the prime reasons is because it's very high. About 75% of its content is a fat, a monounsaturated fat, which is the more heart healthy, brain healthy type of fat that's known to be anti-inflammatory. The fat will help to buffer any sugar that's in the dark chocolate. And so it's going to make the glycemic load of these nut clusters lower. And that means your blood sugar stays more stable. You don't get the big high, and you also don't get the big crash. So the monounsaturated fat is key for that. It's anti-inflammatory. And it also is, and the macadamia nuts are a source of antioxidants as well. So we have those 3 magical ingredients. Now, how do we make this? Very simple. We're going to use dark chocolate. In this case, we're using dark chocolate chips. So you can use a bar and you can cut it up into small pieces, or you can use the chips. And we're going to microwave this for about 30 seconds at the time. So I'll be stepping away a little bit to microwave this, and then I'll come back. So there'll be a little bit back and forth for the next maybe minute or so. So I'm going to hop on over to the microwave. I'm going to add my chocolate to a bowl. So you always want to do this in a microwave safe bowl, not your plastic cup. I'm adding it in. And typically to melt chocolate this way with the microwave, you do it in about 30-second increments. Sometimes you can go up to a minute, sometimes 20 seconds, but in general about 30-second increments, and you stir it after each increment. So that's what I will be doing. And while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to take my macadamia nuts and put them in clusters of about 5 or 6 nuts. Okay, I'm ready for my first stir. And with the first stir, you can see it is starting to melt just a little bit, not very much though, so it's going back in. And while that is doing that, I will continue to create my clusters. This is such a simple, easy restaurant recipe. This is a great one to do with your kids or with your grandkids. They will love making this, and of course, they will love eating this. We're going to take questions right after this. And for the recipe, hop on over to my private Facebook group and join that if you have not already joined it. You will pick up this recipe as well as recipes for all of the recipes that I actually do on the show. Plus, we always share a lot of information. I encourage my clients to be very creative with the recipes that I give them and create their own variations because we all have different tastes, right? And we all have some ingredients that we like and dislike. So everything in cooking is modifiable. That's what makes it fun and stress-free. Modify it. Okay, we're going to do the second round. It's definitely getting, I'll show you this round. You can see, and I'm going to put it back in there again. And we want to wait until it is fully melted. And then it's a little easier to work with as we're going to pour it over these little macadamia nuts. And then we just put it in the freezer for about 20 minutes. And that allows it to set. And then you have your macadamia nut clusters. It's very simple. So let's see, we're about to get ready for the next round. And this is looking good. So you can now see what it looks like. And I think I will go ahead and use this. If your chocolate does not melt very well, you can add a little bit of coconut oil, like maybe a half a teaspoon of coconut oil into your chocolate. And that will boost the fat content of the chocolate bar or chocolate chips that you may be using and make it a little bit easier. Now, salt. So you have found that a lot of the popular brands now are including a little salt in their chocolate. It's a nice flavor profile. And you can do that one or two ways with this recipe. One, you can use roasted salted macadamia nuts. So that's what I'm using today. And I bought these at Trader Joe's. And that gives you that little salt flavor profile. Or you can use raw macadamia nuts. And then you can sprinkle a little bit of sea salt on top. So these are looking really delicious. This chocolate has melted really well. It's staying liquid even as I continue to create the clusters. If your chocolate starts to get hard, you can put it back in the microwave again for another 20 seconds. That usually does it. If you need to add a little coconut oil to it at this point, sometimes that happens and you do need to add that to make it stay liquid. And these are going to be delicious. I actually have family who are waiting in line for these to firm up so they can have a little afternoon snack. And there we go. I think we have just enough chocolate for this last square. And you could see I've gotten about 10 out of the recipe. So that's to ensure that you do not eat too many. And that looks beautiful, beautiful. So if you would like the recipe for this one, please hop on over to the private Facebook group, Real Food, Real Joy, Real Healing. And for more information about me as an executive wellness coach and how I use food as medicine in my programs to help clients heal from all types of chronic conditions, but especially those that are heart and brain risk factors, weight, aging, hypertension, prediabetes, diabetes, cholesterol issues, digestive issues, autoimmune issues. Those are all of the conditions that I work with clients on every day. And we use food and lifestyle and herbal medicine to reverse and overcome those health challenges. So I look forward to seeing you at next week's show. We're going to answer some questions now. So I'm bringing on my producer who will let me know the questions that'll come in. And if you have additional questions after we close the live broadcast, please just post them under the video, and I will be coming in during the week and we will answer all of your questions. So let's see. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Zana. We have a very good question right now from Chanel, who is wanting to know what percentage of cocoa is best to use in the recipe.
So I am using today, it's 75% cocoa, and it's an organic cocoa. So that's a great percentage. But if you can only find like 65%, that's fine. You can use 65%. That still counts as dark chocolate. Great question, Chanel.
We have a question from Patricia. And actually, this was the same question I had. She said, didn't see where the coffee was added. When did you add the coffee?
The coffee was in the espresso powder. And I forgot to show you, but I actually had the espresso powder in with my bowl of chocolate chips.
Okay, so you melted it all together.
Yeah, so I melted it all together. And you can do it that way, or you can actually, after you melt it, you can stir in the espresso powder at that point too.
And how long do you chill them for before they're ready?
About 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
So your freezer temperature may be different. So you just want to test it and just make sure that they're hardened so that when you pick them up, they're not going to stick to your finger. That's the key.
And here's one more question. It's a good one. How many calories are, actually 2 more questions. How many calories are in each of these little treats?
So there's about 100 calories per cluster. So a serving size is on the recipe. You'll see a serving size is considered 2 of these clusters. So that's going to be about 200 calories. I would recommend you just have 1 at a time. And for most of my clients, I definitely would limit to 1 or 2 a day. It is a treat.
It's hard to have just 1, but it's good advice.
It is.
Oh, Chanel wants to know how long they will keep.
So these will actually keep probably, if you keep them in the freezer, they will keep a couple of weeks.
Oh.
So anytime you make any kind of chocolate candied type of a treat, you can always keep it in the freezer, and it'll keep for a good period of time, a couple of weeks. Sometimes I've kept them even longer because I like to make chocolate covered treats for Christmas presents, and those will keep, sometimes up to a month. They'll still be good. In the refrigerator, it will probably be a little bit less. And you do want to have them in something that's sealed so they do not absorb the scents and the aromas from the refrigerator or the freezer.
So we had a question that I think just relates to what you're saying about the refrigerator from Sophie. I hope I said that correctly.
Okay.
So do you actually need to keep them refrigerated after you take them out of the freezer, like to store them?
Yes, you would want to keep them in the refrigerator. They do not have a lot of preservatives in them like the ones in the store.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now that it's warm, if they're sitting in your warm kitchen, they will start to melt, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest, it's not so much that they will increase bacteria, but they will start to melt and it'll make it very difficult to eat them. The other thing you could do with this is you could crumble it up and you could put it on a healthy ice cream. So if you made a banana ice cream, like a few weeks ago we did the banana green tea ice cream. So you could do a banana raspberry ice cream with frozen raspberries and frozen bananas and put it in the blender and make a little ice cream and then crumble up one of these on top. That would be a delicious, heart-healthy, brain-boosted treat that is nutritionist approved.
That sounds wonderful, and everyone in the audience is saying yum, and I agree. That sounds great.
Try it. Post your pictures in the private Facebook group, Real Food, Real Joy, Real Healing. Post any modifications that you come up with in that. That is a group for us all to share and inspire and encourage each other to make this transition to whole foods, foods that are good for the soul, the body, and the mind. So I look forward to seeing everybody next week at 12:15 for our next show and learning 3 more brain foods. See you then. Bye.